Hey guys, 𝐸⍴ here. Just want to discuss, if you guys have been watching my channel, I want to discuss how to start a pool business and be successful at it. I do feel like I have some valuable points in this aspect because I've successfully started my own business, but also 3 other businesses, and I'm actually working on my 4th now with 4 other friends. So I do have a lot of good advice, I believe, for those that want to start out in the pool business. So I mean, you got to have some traits that will dominate in this industry. You got to be dedicated, you got to be motivated, and you need to think on your feet and be educated. So you need to be motivated because it is an industry that does require, for the most part, around the clock attention. You know, you're gonna have clients calling you all the time, wanting to solve issues, and you got to be motivated to go take care of those issues, or you're just not going to be successful because, you know, everyone. You know, we've been groomed as a society to want now and receive now instant gratification. So they're going to want their pool service promptly or their issue fixed quickly. And if you're not going to do that, they're just going to find someone else because there's 8,000 other companies around. So you definitely need to be motivated. You need to be dedicated. It's something where you really need to immerse yourself in the industry and really want to learn about it and, you know, become the expert, because there's so many people that aren't the expert that, you know, if you really become knowledgeable in the industry, people are going to start calling you. I mean, I have companies that call me for questions, you know, they have and need answers all the time. So, you know, eventually other companies start recognizing that and you start getting business from them. So you got to be dedicated to really want to be the best, because, again, there's so many companies out there that, you know, it's a tough market to be the best in. So you definitely want to, you know, provide yourself every advantage as possible. The next thing, you want to be educated. You know, you want to tie in what I was saying before, you want to be able to solve customers' problems. And there's often times you'll be cleaning the pool or working on something, a customer will come out and ask a question. Hey, you know, Eric, something's been happening in my pool, you know, X problem, how do you fix it? And it impresses them if you can fix it on the spot and give a solid solution. So, you know, go get your CPO certification. You know, unfortunately, there's not a CPO certification required for residential work. It's only for commercial, but nonetheless, it's a credential that you can offer that, again, a lot of companies don't have. You know, because the scary thing is there's no certification requirements needed to start servicing pools. You could literally go grab your pole, your brush, and your vacuum and start servicing pools tomorrow if you wanted. So you got to continue to set yourself apart from the competition, because, you know, there's so many people that aren't certified or qualified or licensed, that if you start doing those things, you'll start providing value for the customers, a perceived value, and that's very important. So definitely want to be motivated, you want to be dedicated, you want to be educated. So those are some definite must-have traits to be successful in this industry. So moving on to that, you know, once you go from there, you need to you need to create value for your customers, you know, and once you do that, you can command a higher rate. So for instance, in my area, the average rate for monthly pool service, full service, is $85 a month, and I'm significantly higher, in fact almost 50% higher, and starting out. And people ask, how do you do that? And the reason why is because you're creating a value for the customer. And we'll get into all these things we're going to talk about today, add value to the customer, and they're willing to pay that. You know, in fact, it's routine that I will sign someone on for, you know, $130, $140, $150 a month, and they were only paying $90 before. So why are they wanting to, you know, increase their rate 60%? Well, it's because I'm creating a value for them, and they see that, and that they're getting that, and they're happy to pay it. You know, some of my highest paying clients are hoping that I take over the Tampa Bay area, and it's because they see the good work, and they've had, unfortunately, some bad companies, and they acknowledge good work and they want to pay for it. So you got to create that perceived value, and you do that in a couple ways. The first thing, you know, these two go hand in hand, is be professional and also be reliable. Any major pool service area, you know, Florida, California, Arizona, you're going to have a handful of companies that wear uniforms, their trucks are wrapped or stickered, or are advertised as a pool company. And then you have thousands of others that aren't, they're unmarked, they don't wear uniforms, and go into that. When my best friend first started to get me interested in the industry, he goes, "Why don't you get into pools?" And I said, "Well, Jeremy, it doesn't look like a rewarding industry to be in, because you take a look around and you see all those companies that, their trucks are rusted out, they're wearing all these stained clothes, they're smoking at people's properties, you open the door and stuff just falls out, trash, and I wouldn't want that person in my backyard. So why would I want to emulate that, So once I found out, though, it's financially rewarding, I decided from the very beginning I want to present a professional package. Because the fact of the matter is, I believe that if you show up to a person looking for estimates, and you show up you got a nice uniform on, you got a hat, a jacket, what have you, and you get your vehicles wrapped, well identified, and you pull up next to somebody that's unmarked and just they look like they rolled through dirt for hours, you're already a step above the other guys. So you want to do everything you can to give yourself the advantage, because the fact of the matter is it's just oversaturated. I mean, there's thousands and thousands of companies, at least in my area, it seems. I mean, not literally thousands, but I mean, there's tons of companies around. So to go along with that, you want to be reliable, and if you're reliable, you're a professional company, in my opinion. So you want to show up on the same day, of the week. You want to show up in the same time frame, but oftentimes it doesn't matter, because the clients are at work themselves. So you want to definitely just be reliable, be there every single week. One perceived value that I give my customers is that I give them a digital door hanger, basically, for lack of a better words, a report that includes all their readings, and things like that. So that way they know I was there, and B, they know what's going on with their pool. Oftentimes I'll go out on an estimate and I explain that, they're like, "Wow, I don't even know when my guy shows up, or even if he did." And then I've also heard other estimates say, "Hey man, I have it on camera and they haven't showed up in weeks," so, and those are the people charging little money. So that's a value that you can command a higher rate for, because you're actually there and reliable. And again, to go along with those two, you want to do what you're going to say and say what you're going to do. You want to let your clients lay out exactly what you're going to do at each service. One thing I do is I tell my clients that I brush every time, no matter what, and they're like, "Wow, my last guy never brushed." And once I explain that's one of the most important things you can do to your pool on when you're there servicing it, they instantly get that, and they're like, "Wow, this guy's really got his stuff together." And I make sure that I do all those services every time. I don't skimp on services. There's dozens or hundreds of splash and dash companies that are there in and out in 5 minutes. So when I go on my estimates, I make sure that I strongly emphasize that I'm there for 20 to 30 minutes, maybe sometimes even 45. We're cleaning a filter, so that way they know they're getting a quality service for their rate, because why would they want to pay more for the same service? And that's one thing I run into is, "Wow, you're so expensive. Why is that?" Well, because I provide a better service. And then you could even go into the Zig Ziglar speech about cost versus price. Obviously my price is a little higher than the other companies, but your cost of running your pool is going to be cheaper, because I'm going to catch the issues before they become a problem. Whereas the other companies are just going to keep doing as minimal as possible, and then eventually, there's going to be a major problem. They're going to sit there and be like, "Well, oh well." Then you can do some other things. Try to educate your customers too. Just yesterday, actually, I went on an estimate, I got the job, and they're like, "Wow, you really took the time to educate me and really teach me what's going on." I said, "Well, there's no other way to be, because how are you going to handle issues when I'm not there? You need to understand your pool just as much as I do." So, you can do things like that. You really want to make sure you get liability insurance as well. you know, that way you're not putting your client at risk. If you hurt yourself or anything like that, if you're not insured, you know, you could possibly put your homeowner at risk, which is never a good situation to deal with. And then you also want to make sure you have your appropriate certifications if they're required, or your licenses. You know, again, unfortunately, there's so many unlicensed contractors in the pool industry. It's insane. I mean, you know, fortunately, I am a licensed contractor here in Florida, and I don't have to worry about those kind of things. I don't have to worry about the police coming after me or being fined or anything like that. And unfortunately, it's not a heavily policed industry. So I mean, there's just so many people that do that, and again, you're putting your homeowner at risk. And you know, you really shouldn't do that. You should really make sure that not only yourself is covered, but your homeowner when you're doing work on the property. So make sure you get all the insurances and licenses required in your area. That way, you know, you're just not only providing the best service in the area, but you're also the most protected in case anything ever happens. So, you know, that's basically it as far as, you know, a short down and dirty explanation of how you can be successful in the business. You know, like I said, to recap, you need to be motivated, you need to be dedicated to the industry, and you need to be educated. Those are some must-have traits. You know, you need to create a value for the customer. You know, you need to make sure that you have all the requirements, you know, for your area to service, like city licenses, you know, certifications, and state licenses if you're doing repair work, and all that stuff, you know. And that, if you do those things, there's no way you will not be successful, because there's so many, unfortunately, there's so many companies that don't do those things, and, you know, because of that, they're just not, the customers are like, man, I can't believe I'm paying for the service kind of thing, and you don't want that said about yourself. So do all those things, and I can assure you that you're going to be successful. So hopefully that all helps, and let me know if you have any questions in the comments. Take care.